So wanted to thank Elizabeth for joining the event today. Elizabeth, do you have any comments that you'd like to add?
Yeah, sure. If there's time, I'd love to provide a little bit of information about the future of Leadership Charlottesville in the program going forward. First of all, congratulations to Natasha on being this year's board chair. So that's great, and thanks. I see some current board members and some past board members, so it's great to see you all, and a few folks I haven't seen in a long time. So I hope everyone's doing well. I did want to provide just a quick update about Leadership Charlottesville. As you know, it was impossible for us to have the program in 2020, like so many other things that went by the wayside. We've also decided to postpone the program in 2021. And we're working on a plan for a major new relaunch in 2022. We're in the process of transforming the program in partnership with UVA's Weldon Cooper Center for Public Service and the Center for Nonprofit Excellence. And so it will be a partnership program. All three organizations are really excited about sort of pulling the best elements of all of our combined leadership programs. You probably know the Weldon Cooper Center is known in many ways, but particularly for its Sorensen Institute for Political Leadership and also their Senior Executive Institute. C&E is known particularly for their Board Academy, their executive and philanthropy circles, and their emerging leader circle. And so we're going to be pulling elements. We have resources available now from all three organizations to create this newly reimagined program in 2022. Just kind of an idea of the timeline for that, because I think a lot of people want to know where we are on it right now. And so sometime this spring, we'll be in touch with alumni with a survey to get your ideas and impressions about the program. We want to make sure that we're capturing the best elements, and certainly Leadership Charlottesville has had a great run and a really strong reputation. So there's pieces of it that we want to maintain, and we want your input on that. We'll be working on the curriculum throughout the summer, and we plan to have a pretty comprehensive program to publish in this fall, probably in September. That will give people plenty of time to reflect on the program and then enroll in the program in the fall of 2022. So it's kind of a long timeline, but we are all pretty confident that that is the best approach based on the current climate in the business community, and also this great opportunity for the three of our organizations to come together. So just wanted to give you a heads up on all of that, and don't be surprised if and when you hear from us, and please feel free to share your ideas, your impressions, and your suggestions. So that's pretty much it for me.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Libby, did you have something? I think you're on mute. Nope. So maybe Libby will come back. I would just encourage everyone, when we do get those surveys, to really take time. Go ahead, Libby. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Here's my question. Does that mean that we need to go through the program again? Is it going to be a different name? And so does that mean we have to start all over again with a new year?
You do not need to start all over again. There may be some people who, if they see it, they might be interested in going through the program once again. But once an alum, always an alum. So you will still remain part of that. Whether or not the name changes, we haven't decided that just yet. So, but you will always, the Alumni Association will always kind of be the umbrella group for people who've gone through the program for every year since the beginning. So, and that will continue to be the case.
Awesome. I was just going to say, when we get those surveys, I know sometimes we get inundated with people asking us to fill out, surveys for different things. But I think I would like to encourage everyone to take that time just because we are reimagining the program and we want to make sure that it is everything that it can be. So please feel free to fill out the survey and give your thoughts and to reach out to the chamber with anything specific that you want to add. Awesome. I want to just take a couple minutes to recognize some of our former chair people. As Elizabeth mentioned, I was recently elected as the current chairperson of Leadership Charlottesville Alumni. And so I know we have Dave Folke, who was one of our past chairpersons. We also have Bill Brent, who was a past chairperson. And I didn't see Carolyn Saint, but she also was one of our most recent past chairpersons. On the line with us, we have Scott Hamler, who is currently on the board. We have Cal Beasley, who's currently on the board. We have Susan Thomas, who's currently on the board. And I didn't see Will Crutchfield come in. Scott, did Will come in? Okay, Will Crutchfield is also on the board. So we are currently kind of holding it down for LCAA, and we are always looking to add more people to the board. So certainly if you're interested in that, reach out to any one of us to find out what you can do. Some of our past board members are also hopefully going to join the call. We have Shalomith Gonzalez from LC20, Melissa Robertson, who was with the best class, LC19, also Scott Rainey, who was with best class, LC19, and Kim Washington from LC18. So a lot of them have been working behind the scenes. Some of them have had to step away. Of course, COVID has created an environment for a lot of us where all of our life and everything that's going on is merging. So some of them had to step away to do some other things. Not sure if any of you were able to join any of our programming from 2020, but we had a series, Courageous Conversations, that started last summer, really around the George Floyd murder and really around some of the social and racial injustice that was going on. And we wanted to reach out to the community and have some, open dialogue and some open conversations. And so that started in June of last year. That kind of morphed, and we had several different ones. We had one on defund the police with a couple of Albemarle County police officers and with Rochelle Brackney. We had one on returning to school in the COVID era. We had one called Battle to the Ballot about voting in Charlottesville and in Albemarle County. And then we had a town hall after the election. So we definitely had an opportunity to really connect with alumni last year and hopefully had some meaningful conversation and some meaningful dialogue. Anyone attend any of those meetings that they'd like to share anything about or share their thoughts on?
Yeah, I will. So the session on Sean Mulligan I thought was really great, and I invited him and his three cohorts in crime, so to speak, to speak to our Rotary group in October. And based on some of his suggestions, we were able to do some outreach to City of Promise. And last night we had him back for a reprise to help us understand what's been done and what are some of the ongoing challenges. And so we had Juan Wade from the school board and James Pierce from the Boys and Girls Club. And they said one of the biggest challenges is finding some mentors over the summer to help the students kind of get ready and kind of get caught up, because there were so many that were challenged. And so Juan had sent me a list of 4 organizations that would welcome mentors. So Natasha, I can send this to you, or Andy, if this is something that this group would like to participate in as well. But I was really inspired by Sean's presentation, and that leapfrogged into 2 presentations for Rotary.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Any thoughts on Courageous Conversations?
Yeah, I just say that I think that the presentations, I went to several of them and I thought they were all really good. So I just congratulate you guys on putting together a great program. Some of the sort of post discussion about the as business leaders, what can be done, and thinking about sort of, diversity and inclusion, those sorts of things. I think this is a conversation a lot of us were having in other formats, but I thought it was pretty well done, especially because it's localized. So it's really helpful.
Great.
I appreciated the opportunity to hear from and speak with local leaders in a little bit more of a relaxed forum as well. And I appreciate the efforts that went into moderating those and getting people to come and be on the conversations.
Great.
So more
Thank
of
you.
that is great.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, some of our time tonight will be spent, really hearing from you. We're going to go into breakout rooms to have a little bit more conversation and networking. So bring your drinks and come over. Scott will put us in some rooms. But really, we want to hear from you guys as to, what's impactful. What are some things that you'd like to see from Leadership Charlottesville, from the Alumni Association in 2021, as far as things that we can do. As Elizabeth mentioned, the program itself is, not going forward this year, but, we want to stay connected with the alumni. We want to make sure that we're providing value. So really want to have an opportunity to do that. Cal, you want to kind of give us some directions for our breakout rooms?
Sure. So I believe Scott's going to send us into probably 3 or 4 rooms so that we can have small groups and have a little more meaningful conversation. The goal is to talk about what type of programming you would like to see us try and put on for alumni over the coming year. And maybe even in future years. So maybe don't limit it to just things that you think we can do now virtually, but maybe think of go ahead and think of the future when we can all be together and what you'd like to see us do when we can get together in person. So just ask that one person in each group maybe take some notes, and when we come back, we'll have individuals share with us what your group discussed and thought you'd like to see.
And don't forget to network. Make sure that
Scott,
everybody
now
is
for this,
make sure everybody's introducing themselves and saying what you do and connecting those dots, because it may be somebody in that group with you that has a service that you need. Oh, real quick before we go to our breakout rooms, I will say that Bill Brent and I are on the, Bill Brent, of course, is the executive director for the American Red Cross, and I'm on the board there too. But a lot of us may work for organizations that used to have blood drives, right? When we were in the office and work. And now, of course, that's not happening. They're still accepting your blood. They still want your blood. So go to redcross.org and sign up. We have a big push for sickle cell this year, and sickle cell typically affects people of African descent, so Black people, and also some of our Hispanic partners. But there is a critical need for that type of blood so that people can get their transfusion. Sometimes people are going in, several times a week to get it, and there's not blood that they can use. So definitely, if you have an opportunity to give blood, we encourage you to do that. Everything's COVID safe, so go give blood.
All right, let's see if we can break out. It's either too short or too long. It's never perfect.
Exactly. All those times you're in a breakout room and everybody's just looking at each other.
Yeah.
We weren't that room.
It's Dave and me in the same room. I mean,
Life's good.
Can anyone else get a word in? Or?
we have everybody back, Scott?
We should, yeah. I think that should be everyone.
Awesome. Cal, take it away.
Okay, so now we want to hear, I guess, what each group came up with. How many groups were there, Scott? I was in group 5, so there were at least 5 groups. Okay, awesome. All right.
5 exactly.
All right. So if someone from group 1 would like to share what you discussed, ideas that you guys came up with.
Hannah, do you want to go?
I was going to say, David's a professional here about, but we actually didn't get far into talking about programming because we were so anxious to network with one another. And as soon as we introduced ourselves, we're like, oh, wow, I can actually connect you with this person, which was really exciting. So we said we'd like more networking programs.
And
Thanks,
did you
Hannah.
guys discuss what maybe type of networking programs or just in general networking? Okay.
No, I think we were all, I mean, we talked about how much we really loved our leadership Charlottesville classes. And I mean, everybody else I've met through this is great as well, but how a lot of times we were looking to connect with them, like a little class reunion. So that could be fun, I think, because I don't know about you guys, but I think everybody I've ever spoken with about leadership Charlottesville, it's like you get so close to your classmates. And they're all like really different people, and then you don't get to see them as much after the fact. But
okay, that's good. What about group number 2?
Who is that? Is that our group?
That was Bill Brent's group.
Okay.
Yeah, as for yours.
Go
So
for it, Ashley.
we did the same kind of networking, but we also discussed maybe the need for or desire for a directory that has people by class and also by profession and organizations that they're associated with. That would be another way to help with the networking and leverage all the resources that have put into this program a little bit further. And then personally, I would love to see some programming around affordable housing and just understanding the issues and the complexity of it. I think I know a lot about it, and I'm still totally baffled by some of the terminology and some of the things I try to read and keep up with.
Ashby, to follow up on that, one aspect of the whole affordable housing area that I'd like to know more about is the Southwood community and all the work that's being done there. So I was just going to tack that on to what you just said.
Okay.
And group 3, Susan, that was your group?
Yeah, we had a really great discussion with Sue Lewis, who, was, kind of a founding member, and the kinds of things that, she liked was meet new people and the diversity, and that's kind of a theme. And they too did projects, and she said, plus, she was a financial advisor, and Don and I were in the 2020 class, so they connected. And Don suggested, and I agree, that the projects would be better if we had a group that was essentially lobbying us to work with them. And so we would have some key stakeholders to work with. And also for networking, the 2020 class got kind of cut off because the pandemic came, and we really couldn't finish some of the things that we wanted to do. And we tried to have a few Zoom meetings afterwards, but it didn't really work. So we are so looking forward to doing the networking, because all the other, all the classes before us can go, grab a glass of wine together. So we are looking forward to that.
Yeah, for sure. Leon, our group is next.
Yes, we came up with a few ideas, actually. One, which was Nishay's, was that we expand or follow up on the courageous conversation earlier on the schools and on youth. And now that, there's been a lot of events that's happened since then, to update that. Also on courageous conversations, continuing that, the idea of having a variety of perspectives on an immediate pending issue. And one issue we'd like to see is hopefully more immediate than not, is what a post-COVID world will look like. And then finally, at the beginning of this, Elizabeth Cromwell mentioned the changes in leadership Charlottesville and that she'd like our input. So perhaps a conversation with this group, with her, to talk about that would be useful as well. So those were our ideas.
Cal, your group.
Sure.
Last but not least.
So Jonathan or Ayana, you guys want me to talk, or one of you guys want to go?
Go for it.
Okay. So one of the things we talked about also was about hearing more about the future of Leadership Charlottesville. Having that as a topic, we kind of focused a lot on continuing the Courageous Conversations or similar programming, and some of the items that were topics we wanted to, hear more about. We want to continue with diversity and inclusion. We, keep that kind of front and center. So some more on that. We want to know more about, like I said, the new format of Leadership Charlottesville. Information on like public-private partnership. We talked about that, and local government partnerships with nonprofits. I think, as I think Jonathan mentioned, maybe there's like a budget in the city of Charlottesville related to that, hearing more about that, maybe how that works. And then also perhaps from a networking perspective, having like brief coffee chats, and maybe having those at, random times, so that people can join just like they would during their workday whenever they're going on a coffee break. And we also talked about, perhaps thinking about mixing up the times of these types of events. So often they seem to be in the evening or afternoon, but mornings may be better for some people. So I'm thinking, maybe kind of rotating when we have some of those events to the extent we can.
I just want to say I do a monthly 8:30 in the morning coffee club on Zoom, and I've got my membership up to 10 people so far. So sometimes that works too.
Thank you guys so much for sharing all of that. I had a thought and it went right out of my mind. So Scott, you got something. It'll come back to me.
Good, yeah. Let that ponder for a second. But for one, hit up Donald if you want to be a part of the coffee club. Just send Donald if you want to put your email in the chat, just so anybody wants to be part of that. But to piggyback on what Cal's group was talking about, our group also discussed having maybe a meeting on once when we're solidifying what the program looks like, the Leadership Charlottesville program looks like, come to the community and talk to us about what ideas that we think would be good for the program. That could be a very interesting and important event. So that's a possibility for the future. I just want to throw that one out there.
It came back to me. You know how you walk in one room and you forget what you were going in the room for? Like that, maybe that just happens to me. Volunteer efforts. Anyone interested in maybe any type of virtual volunteering? I know that a lot of times I personally get things, where people want someone to look at resumes, or, we had something for Valentine's Day to write cards to like people in retirement communities and things like that. So that may be one thing that as an alumni association we can think of too, is ways that we can, give back to the community in a concerted effort in a safe COVID environment.
That's a great idea. There's a lot of opportunities. Network to work at PVCC would be one. Lots.
Yeah, they were our they were our project, LC19. So we selected them.
I've been actually volunteering to read resumes and didn't know I was doing it for anybody but me. I'm glad to be associated with you guys.
Yeah. Well, I want to open it up a little bit to hear from people. I know, like we mentioned, 2020 was a really difficult year. We're all still here, so happy to still be here. But maybe what are some things that you are doing for yourself this year? Because I sit at my desk, 8-10 hours a day, and we probably have all gotten in some bad habits about that. So for me, one thing that I have vowed to do this year is not sit at my desk for like an entire day and get up and take 15 minutes and go outside and walk around for a little bit. So what are you guys doing to keep yourself healthy and just to take better care of yourself this year?
Well,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead, Sue.
I started doing a 30-minute yoga video every day. Amazon, and they're free if you have Amazon Prime. There's a 30-minute weight loss transformation with Julia Marie. It doesn't have to be weight loss. I think they just do that to get people in. But it's a great, some are intense and some are easy, and there's a balance of them. And there's a lot of yoga videos out there streaming. It's 30 minutes, in between. If I got an hour between calls, I go do yoga.
Yeah, one of my things has been getting rid of this. I mean, honestly, and telling my folks, look, on Saturday, I'm out of the mix. Or if I've taken a day off during the week, that generally, the get away from, so the cool thing about being able to work remote is we can work remote. The bad thing is now we're doing it at 5 o'clock in the morning when we can't sleep, and at 10 o'clock at night, and there's no separation. I'm sitting at my dining room table, which is supposed to be about like families and meals, and now is about 2 screens and a laptop. To just be able to say, I'm not going to answer emails, I'm not going to have leave your phone behind and go do something is remarkably empowering. So I encourage you to try it. You'll be freaked out because you'll be like, it's not in my pocket. It's not in my pocket. I'm used to it being in my pocket. After about an hour, you'll be like, yay, it's not in my pocket. So try that.
I love that.
What I've been doing to keep with mental health, because I've transitioned to working from home so that my branch office can be used by my administrator and stuff like that. We don't get too close to each other. But what I have done is I keep all my work stuff in one spot. I time block my entire day, so I know what I'm supposed to be up to, roughly in each hour and a half chunk. And I build in a specific lunch break that I guard viciously so that I can take a breather in the middle of the day. And since I'm home, spend that time with my wife.
Awesome. Thank you, Donald.
I have put a better office in my home. So my home office is more efficient. I have a stand-up desk and a wobble seat and a rebounder. So between calls or between projects, if I'm working on a file or something, then when I finish that file, I will go jump on the rebounder for, a couple of minutes in between, and just trying to stay more active like that. I realized how much time I was spending working in front of the computer on a screen. So I got some blue light glasses to fit over my glasses that help with the eye strain. And I have a pet project. I'm starting a market farm this summer. So I'm working on that, and that will give me a lot of outdoor activities. So that's what I'm doing.
Also, shout out to Janice for the best name and the most accurate.
Anita, I saw you come off of mute. Were you going to share something? Okay.
Well, I can share one more thing that my wife and I have been doing since the quarantine started, less so in the winter, but we actually started neighborhood socially distanced happy hours. When the weather was nicer and the sun went down a little bit later, like in the fall, we'd go around find folks to come out with their camp chairs and just spread out across the edges of the cul-de-sac and talk to people and get to know our neighbors again. We have a tighter sense of community now on this little street than we've ever experienced. So it's pretty nice.
That's awesome.
Well, my last job was much more of an office job than I was used to as Jonathan Zawara. And I knew I needed to be in the woods. And so I have carved out, pretty busy actually in retirement, but a big part of it is I have met through the center some amazingly fit hikers. And I used to feel really accomplished at hiking 5 miles. And now I feel pretty accomplished when I do a 12-mile day with 72-year-old women who are all working to do the Shenandoah 500, which is to hike every trail in the Shenandoah National Park. So I think I'm about halfway finished. One of this group just finished this week. She's 72. So that has just done wonders for my spirit and soul and health.
Awesome. Kara, are you off mute?
I am off mute. But I was going to share something that our company started just probably a couple months into COVID. We were all working remotely, and our umbrella company is called Two Cows, and we have employees all over the world, not just in Charlottesville. And we started a noontime like meditation, which at first I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have time to do this. But it's amazing because I've met so many people from our company all over the world when I do it. So that's great. And then the other thing that we started doing as a company, which maybe we could even do kind of piggybacking off of what Dawn's doing by putting it in the directory, is we do 20-minute coffee breaks. You can sign up and you're randomly like put together with someone that maybe maybe you don't know. It could be the CEO, it could be the CFO, it could be like one of our technicians in Charlottesville. And it's just a really cool kind of break from the day. And oftentimes it starts with, what do you do for Tang or Two Cows? And then it kind of goes into more of a personal conversation. And that's been a really good break. And a lot of people with our company have liked that a lot.
Yeah, we do something similar. So I think that's a great suggestion, Kara. So I think Cal was furiously taking notes. Hopefully we can share some of those maybe in our upcoming board meeting and, circle back to some of these great ideas.
I had one, if unless you want to move on, because it's not essential. But I'm actually back in the office. We have a really small office and strict mask wearing policies. And I was not like a picture of mental health when I was working from home anyway. But my husband, however, has been working at home for a whole year, and he is very good at it. And I think his secret was he kept his morning routine. Like, he kept waking up at the exact same time he would have had he gone to the office. And because he didn't have to drive, he just took that extra time to drive to drink a cup of coffee or even go outside for a bit. And he did get dressed, which was amazing, the willpower of it. But like every single day, like shoes and everything. So it was adorable, but he did really well with it. I think that was big for him, was keeping some of his old routine. And then my suggestion would be make Zoom calls, like try really hard not to make them wear out, which is really easy to do. So some friends and myself made up some games like for Zoom, like one person asks a question and then everyone writes it on a piece of paper and then you reveal it at the same time. And so I don't know, playing games I think was helpful in trying to like break up just business meetings on Zoom and then social meetings on Zoom and school meetings on Zoom. It's too many meetings on Zoom. So that helped.
Thanks, Hannah. What's up, Dave?
Hey, so the next time any of us meet Hannah's husband, let's make sure we talk to him about wearing shoes. You know, Hannah says you wear shoes.
I will remember that. Josh is never going to live this down now.
She says you wearing shoes is very adorable.
I wasn't wearing shoes. I mean, like, I was wearing like a nice shirt and then sweatpants. You know, I thought that's what everybody was doing. So I thought it was pretty cute. But
listen, I think yoga pants have definitely lulled me into a false sense of security. And so if I ever have to wear pants that zip again, it is going to be a bad, bad day. Okay, it's not going to be good, people. It's not going to be good.
I will say, even returning to the office, you're like, in general, my standards for what I like need to wear and how I need to look are just, I'm still like, they're pretty low now. Like, I mean, I'm kidding, but like, just wear less makeup, do less hair stuff in general. Like, you get very used to it. And I think that was kind of an odd, cool thing about work from home. It's like, wow, this is what I look like, and that's what it's going to be every day. So that was a fun benefit, I guess.
Yeah, I do get my hair cut, and she's like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't care, whatever. You know, I used to get all, oh no, you've got to cut the bangs this way. And I'm like, yeah, just do something.
I think we should normalize comfort and like natural, like, you know, you shouldn't have to give up an hour of your morning every morning to make other people think you look good. You look awesome.
So I know we went to the breakout rooms and we talked amongst ourselves in our breakout rooms, but would really love to maybe spend the last, 8 minutes of our time together, just quickly going through everyone who's on the call. And if there's something that you're doing, like I know, Janice is a realtor, Dave is with the news, Scott is doing marketing, really just share quickly, so we can kind of do that networking so that you can maybe write someone's contact information down. I know Libby's the tax lady and it's tax season, so she's probably so busy. But it's good. That's part of what we're doing too, is really networking and supporting the businesses in our community. Scott, do you want to start? I'm just going to go by the screen.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you want to call on people? I started 4Z Marketing, and it's a digital marketing company, and I'll put my info in the chat there. And I started in March of last year, right as COVID hit, so perfect timing. But it's actually worked out pretty well for me. But yeah, 4Z Marketing Solution.
Thanks, Scott. Susan?
So I'm retired, but I do have a structure. I meet running friends at 6:30 most mornings, except Friday, which is 5:30. And so then I get up and get going. I'm on 5 or 6 boards, Loaves and Fishes, Rotary Project Management, a couple of others. I'm helping with the Learning Pod, but I have a very detailed calendar to keep track of what I'm doing, but I always try to connect with friends and do maybe a virtual coffee or socially distanced, and then sometimes middle of the afternoon, I'll just walk down the street and back to kind of clear my head. Since when I was with IBM, I did a lot of remote work because you're either on a client site or home. So when we built the house, I have a really good office. So it's, good space, good light, that kind of thing. And like Leona's saying, so I belong to ACAC, and they have on-demand classes, and they have over 100 yoga classes, and they have 15, 30, and 45-minute ones. And, exactly what you're talking about, Leo. And I just, if I just feel really stuck and I can't, think of, some of the things I'm supposed to do for one of the nonprofits, I just hop over there and do a 30-minute stretch or something, and it really makes a difference. So I'm working on taking care of myself, but also the engagement outside is with these various nonprofits.
You're muted, Natasha.
John.
Yeah, so I'm a financial advisor. I'm not going to talk about that. I don't care about that for here. I just want to mention real quick the nonprofit work that I'm interested in, especially because it doesn't get a lot of publication. It's not something that's super exciting, but glad that Hannah mentioned it, and that is mental health. So I sit on the board of Partner for Mental Health, and we deal with largely mental health advocacy, but also in dealing with people who are in crisis and need navigation assistance. So finding their way through the mental health system. If you've ever tried to get through government services, it's hard. So imagine if you add on to that you have a mental health issue. So these are people largely who don't have family support, or their family support is frankly tired of dealing with them. And then the third rung, if you will, we deal with what most people think of as a drug court, but instead for mental health. So if your primary issue is that you caused a issue because of your mental health, this is a diversion program. So we also deal with that. As you might imagine, it's not the sexiest nonprofit. It never will be. But we could use one, support obviously financially, but as importantly, we are looking for quality leaders in the community to add to our board. So I'm right now in that process of adding new board members, and so certainly would love it if any of you are interested. So I put my cell phone number on there because Donald probably knows this. I'm in a very compliant industry. I'm actually on my work computer and I can't chat with you through Zoom right now, so I can't put it in the chat.
Thanks, John. Libby?
Yeah, hey, I'm sitting here thinking about, because I don't want to talk about taxes. I'm like, yeah, John, I'm just like, I'm tired of that. And so I was trying to think of all the different groups, which one I'd like to spotlight. But I will say one thing. I need you guys to buy Girl Scout cookies. Girl Scouts, they just were able to, they got a moratorium on their cookie booths, but it can be shut down at any time. And this is the majority fundraiser for our Girl Scouts in our council. So it's really important. So I'm pushing the pounds on you guys. I know you got COVID pounds, but you need some cookie pounds as well. So I want to encourage you to. So that's going to be my spotlight group that I'm going to let you know. But you know, we'll talk about other groups at different other times. But buy cookies from my little Girl Scouts. They're cute, yes, and the cookies are tasty.
Yes, and you can buy online, and they will ship them to your house, or you can have someone leave them on your porch.
But I will tell you this: if you do buy online, the local girls are not getting the credit. So if you really can find the local troop for the local girls to buy from, then that dollar stays locally. And if you have an office or something that's open and you're willing to, you know, be a drop-off point, or you can help get some big quantities out, let me know, because I'm trying to help them as much, because this really is important for them. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Bill Brent.
Have any discussion tonight?
So, as Natasha has become one of our wonderful best new board advocates, she already talked about our need for blood. It's constant, it never changes. And we have managed to continue to meet those needs for our communities only because of the fact that we're able to bring blood from other places. We don't collect enough from Virginia to meet any of our needs, or the totality of the need. And sickle cell certainly has been impacted in significant ways because our African-American donor population has shrunk in half this year for obvious reasons, because we have a very at-risk community for COVID. And so it's been a real detriment to our ability to collect that life-saving blood for sickle cell that can really only come from individuals of African descent. So a big shout out for that, but also to the fact that we've been able to continue to meet the mission critical needs of our disaster clients, that we've learned to be very creative in the way that we work with our folks. And my good friend and classmate John spoke of mental health, and we really can't underestimate that. And I just want to shout out for our services to the armed forces programs. If any of you work with individuals who are military families and they need assistance, the American Red Cross has amazing resources. We provide resiliency programs, and they're all virtual. And anyone that is, again, an active member of the military, veteran, or the family thereof is eligible to participate and benefit from any of the services to the Armed Forces programs of the American Red Cross. One of our lesser known and yet our founding program. So, and I'll stop there. I'm sorry, I can never miss an opportunity to Red Cross. I just have to.
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
And real quick, Natasha, before we lose more people to the impeachment trial, I'm supposed to get everybody to like smile and wave so we can get a quick photo. If you have a drink, cheers it up. So just thank you, everyone. All right, you're good. Thank you.
Awesome. Is it Leon?
Yes, Leon, like Sierra Leone. Yeah, I work at State Farm, used to work at the Pantops office, now at home. I'm a manager in the law department in government relations, so we've been pretty busy. But I love my job, love the team I work with. And Susan Thomas and I are in the same Rotary. So I'm active with them as well. Although I have to admit, my volunteer work since COVID has gone down a little. I've had trouble with shifting volunteering to virtual. So Natasha, I was really interested to hear you bring that topic up because I'd be interested in that.
Yeah, Jen Alvarez is on the board for American Red Cross with us. I don't know if you know her, Leon. And my
very
husband,
well. We used to sit right next to each other. I just talked to her today. Yes.
Yeah, and if I showed you a picture of my husband, you probably would know him because he's one of the green men in Charlottesville. So he's probably moved you when you were in the office. So
what's your last name?
Gray.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tony?
Donald.
No, that's Donald.
Donald. No, Donald, yeah.
Well, hi, everybody. I am Don Gianangeli. I'm a financial advisor, and I will talk about that. I run the Edward Jones office in Hollymead, and I really specialize in helping folks to just organize their financial lives, learn about the investments they own, and what they're for, why we do this, and stick with people over the course of their lives to keep them on track towards their goals. My other hat in this community is I am now president of the Charlottesville Business Exchange. We are a nonprofit focused on helping trusted business partners build relationships with everybody that we know. So we do a weekly Zoom every Thursday at 11:30 in the morning. And I put our website address on the chat so you can see which businesses are members and get a little more information about how we function. But we're looking to grow. So take a look at who we are and let us know if we can be of help. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Donald. Let's see. Dave?
I'm sorry, did you say David?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I'm David Foki. I'm the news director at NBC 29. And here's sort of the big elevator pitch. When we're coming out of this pandemic, we are going to want to, as a station, really drive forward with community events to help people get their message out there, their events out there, to help reform all of the face-to-face things that are going on. So as you're looking at that, please reach out to me, let me know about them. We can work on partnerships, we can work on PSAs, we can work on editorial news coverage. We can do all those sorts of things to help supplement so many things, because like John's talked about, the psychological issues that are coming out of a post-COVID world are significant. There's physical issues. There's all sorts of stuff going on. So if you guys are champions of these things, reach out to me, let me know. Let's figure out what we can do to help. And I can vouch for in my Scott Hamler over here, if that's as being a really good guy.
Awesome. Anita? I think you're on mute, Anita.
Thanks. I'm a realtor, 30 plus years. Still out there helping people buy and sell homes. We're wearing masks, we're wearing gloves, we're driving in separate cars. but I'm still out there helping people do what they need to do. So that's who I am. I've been with Montague Miller for 30 some years.
Awesome. Thank you. Kara?
Yep. So Kara Shandison, manager for Ting Internet. I am also on the board of directors of the Chamber this year, as well as CBEC, Charlottesville Business Innovation Council, and on the advisory council for PVCC for Network to Work. But personally, I'm a deacon at my church, First Presbyterian, and I'm involved with PACHM. So love all the volunteer ideas and just really looking forward to attending more of these meetings and getting to know people truthfully from the class of 2020, because we really, didn't spend too much time together, but also the other classes. So thanks again for hosting.
Awesome. Hannah?
So I am the Director of Business Development and Marketing at Martin Horn, which is a local construction company. And while I do want to talk to LCAA about the affordable housing event, if you were to do one, because we're building some here in town, I'm very involved in it, and I'd like to do that. But my pitch, which I've already spent too much time, but my pitch is for a program that it just released today, the application for it. The Urban Land Institute is a international organization for professionals that deal with any sort of land use in general. So it's a broad topic, but I am on the Women's Leadership Initiative within it. And we actually are, our local Virginia chapter won a grant to start a program that is a career development and mentorship program for young women of color. Age 21 to 30. I can send everyone the information on it, but as of now, we're looking for both mentors and mentees. So it's a very small commitment in terms of a mentorship. It would just be, it's a pilot year. So we have 3 women that'll go through the program and have a lot of intense attention given to them. And we'll be asking mentors to spend 1 hour with each of them. So a total of 3 hours. And you can schedule it over the course of 12 months if you wanted to. I mean, it's very low ask, but that being it that it is, we'd really like to get some really badass women, and particularly women of color, to be a part of this program. So if you know anyone, please send them my way. And that goes for mentees as well.
Awesome. Hannah, is it Ayana?
Yes, that's correct. Hi, sorry I can't be on camera, but I'm Ayana Marcus, and I am a programs manager with the Charlottesville Area Community Foundation. I also sit on the board of New City Arts and am involved with the Charlottesville Players Guild, with the Jefferson School African American Heritage Center. And one thing I do want to share today is that the Charlottesville Players Guild and the Jefferson School are doing a series of original works this year. They're all plays written by local Black playwrights. They just premiered the first one called Vinegar Hill by Teresa Dalvest. They have a series for the rest of the year. I'm also producing the last show of the year, She Echoes on the Vine. So I just encourage folks, I know we're all quarantined, but there is art going on that really speaks to the context of this time. And I just think it's going to be a great season, and encourage folks to see it and get involved if they'd like.
Great. Thanks so much, Ayana. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Natasha Gray, of course. In addition to kind of doing some things with LCAA, I work for S&P Global, and I might have mentioned that. So I work in diversity, equity, and inclusion. So feel free to reach out to me if you have, any type of questions, or if you just want to have someone to bounce ideas off of for things that you're doing at work or things that you want to do in the community, really around any type of equity, racial equity, gender equity, veterans, disabilities, all of those type of things are really in my wheelhouse. Really appreciate all of you joining us tonight. Leon, I'm going to show you this picture of this guy. You know that guy?
Yes, yes.
So
Because some people I know in the halls, but I don't know the name. So
yeah,
yes.
yes. And I was there for 15, almost 16 years too. So know a lot of people at State Farm. It's been a long time there. But thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I hope that for the last hour or so that this has been beneficial to you guys, and look forward to hopefully having some events in the future.
It's been great. You've been a great facilitator.
Thank you, Natasha. And I want to say thank you again to Bill, Brent, and David Filkey, and also Caroline Saint, and there's a few others that aren't that were served on our board and were a super help and helped people like Natasha and I kind of show us the way. So I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Take care.
Have a great night, guys.
Bye.
Have a good night. Good job, Natasha.
Thank you. Are you still recording?
Yeah, I'm